This weekend, while you're at play, we're at work.
Because news happens 7 days a week, and we're here to cover it.
We've got 22 years experience between us. I've lived here all my life. I know this town.
At News Center 13, even on weekends, the news comes first, 24 hours a day. News Center 13, where the news comes first, 24 hours a day.
CNN Headline News. I'm David Goodnow. Almost all U.S. rail service is shutting down. The Association of American Railroads announced a half an hour ago it would stop all freight trains in response to a machinist strike against the CSX line. And minutes ago, Amtrak announced it was suspending all service outside the Boston, New York, Washington corridor. All its other trains run over freight railroad tracks. An Amtrak spokesman says New York City commuter trains would not be affected, but other cities might be, stranding thousands of commuters. A freight strike would paralyze dozens of industries that receive their supplies by rail and cost industries millions of dollars every day.
Figures that it could have an impact of up to $50 million a day costing the economy. We were talking about industries like the automotive industry that rely on rail service to get their parts into automobiles and get the automobiles to market. Coal, 60% of the coal in this country is moved by rail. Chemicals that help purify water systems. There's just a tremendous impact that a shutdown of the rail system has on the economy.
Hopes a shutdown would be averted were raised shortly before midnight Eastern Time strike deadline. 3 unions announced they would not strike against Amtrak or Conrail for at least 48 hours. The dispute is over wages and work rules. The venerable but bankrupt wire service United Press International will have a new owner. Tuesday, a bankruptcy judge approved a $4 million bid from the Middle East Broadcasting Center. That's an Arabic language television service based in London. It outbid New York lawyer Leon Charney, who had provided funds to keep UPI running over the past 10 days. Likely Democratic presidential nominee Bill Clinton's offering proposals to lower the federal deficit, but he has his own deficit problems. Clinton said his campaign was almost $4 million in debt at the end of May. Meanwhile, Clinton's defending his decision to lower his middle-class tax cut proposal. He contends his plans had to be revised to allow deeper cuts in the mounting federal deficit. Vice President Dan Quayle spent Tuesday in Los Angeles, the latest stop on his Western campaign swing. He ran into some trouble when he toured an inner-city housing project. Ann McDermott has more.
Vice President Dan Quayle said that while Ross Perot continues to be the administration's main competition in November, he doubts it'll stay that way.
The more that the people focus on Ross Perot, the more they're going to question his temperament, question what kind of a president that he would be.
The vice president spoke at a Los Angeles housing project which was awarded a federal grant so residents could buy their apartments, part of a community involvement strategy to improve the lot of the poor favored by the administration. Inside, Quayle visited with a family of 9 and praised the mother's work counseling teenage girls. Outside the housing project, Quayle talked with other residents, angry residents. They claimed Quayle, as an outsider, knew nothing of their problems.
Don't you think I'm going to learn a lot by being here on
Not if you don't live here, you ain't going to learn nothing.
You come here, this is the first day we done seen you.
You ain't going to live, if you don't live here, you ain't going to learn
Physically, this is the first day I've ever seen you physically.
Later, though, Quayle acknowledged his outsider status as he spoke to a group of community leaders.
Do you think that someone that lives in Washington, D.C. knows best about what's good for Los Angeles? The people here know what's good.
And later, Quayle met with children from a nearby elementary school and received his warmest welcome of the morning. Quayle then headed off for meetings in Sacramento and Las Vegas before heading back home to Washington. Ann McDermott, CNN, Los Angeles.
A federal judge in New York has stuck a life sentence on the Teflon Don. Gambino family mob boss John Gotti was sentenced on Tuesday. He was convicted of murder, racketeering, and tax fraud. His underboss also received a life sentence, and neither is eligible for parole. Gotti's lawyers say they plan to appeal. Earlier, a judge rejected their plea for a new trial based on alleged jury irregularities. Outside the courthouse, 1,000 Gotti supporters charged police lines and overturned a car. 7 were arrested and 8 police officers were injured. Prosecutors say Gotti's son organized that demonstration. In suburban Detroit, a man accused of killing 4 teenage girls pleaded guilty to one of the murders. Leslie Williams told a Michigan state court he raped the girl, then stabbed her in the chest with a knife. He faces a mandatory life sentence at next month's hearing. His lawyer said Williams plans to plead guilty to all 4 murder charges. President Bush has vetoed a bill that would have allowed research using tissue from induced abortions. He echoed concerns of abortion opponents who said it would legitimize abortion. Scientists believe such studies could help cure numerous diseases. A vote to override probably will take place Wednesday, even though it's doubtful administration opponents can muster the 2/3 majority they would need. In San Antonio, Texas, a cooperative effort among people from all walks of life to save some of man's best friends. A group of 15 to 20 people formed a human chain to help save dogs from a burning kennel. Sabrina Smith reports.
You don't have to be an animal lover to feel sorry for these dogs. Just look at them. The